Yeah. Welcome at the podcast to Surf Dudes talking about tech and AI. So,
Yay!
how was your week?
1 week further, but I think next time maybe we should surf together.
Yes, yes. Well, there are coming some big waves I've seen on Wind Guru, so we have to check on that.
Yeah, because we're not big wave surfers, or I am not a big wave surfer,
Yeah.
and I don't
For,
have the I don't have the ambition to become one.
no, for me, it's like 1.5 to 2.5 meters. That's
I don't go in when
fine.
it's over two. No,
No,
then I stay at shore.
but I think that's different at your place because you have
Yeah,
rocks.
they're pretty intense.
Yes, here
The
it's a
waves. There is
scent.
a lot of power.
Yes, here is the scent. So, well, we just started the recording, but then suddenly the connection broke up. So I think it was my VPN server in between causing the issue.
Uh,
So
now we're good. Now we're good.
yeah, now we're good. So I prepared some things because I listen a lot of podcasts. I don't know about you. We make one together now, so but I've heard some very interesting things, which
Maybe
I
you should
just
list Paul. Maybe you should list the podcasts that you're listening to because I got a couple as well, but yeah, they're in Dutch and in English. So maybe we can just compile a list uh,
yes, yes.
and that you can add here. That would be good.
So one of the points that is coming to mind is that we are less busy with prompting, but more with the results. So Cowork doesn't
Ooh,
show you, you don't have to do all prompting anymore. And you only give the intention and the context, and the system makes it itself. What's your opinion about that?
I don't fully agree
Yeah.
because you need to look at like because I gave that in one of the sessions I gave before. I gave it like a little context and a little explanation. So like if you want to use Cowork properly, you
Yeah.
will work with skills, right?
Yes.
So you actually need to look a little bit at it like Cowork is a new employee, right?
Yeah.
That you will give it skills in the
Yes.
sense of you just won't go to the new starter and say, "Hey, now make me a proposal," and you leave. No, because as a company, you have a process to build proposals. You have a certain template you want to use. You have colors. You have whatever, right? So it's a process that has different type of steps. Now, in order to get those skills, you first of all need to understand, right, your process, and then you also need to be able to explain it. So,
Yes.
yes, you will work less with prompting, but you still need to be able to know how to prompt because even though your cowork is using skills and everything, you still need to brief it. Like if you
Yes.
have then your person that just started and it knows then already the skills, you cannot say just make me a proposal. No, because it needs to know what is the context in terms of who is the customer, right? What
Yeah.
are we going to offer? And stuff like that. So yes, we are using less prompting, but you still need to know the foundations because otherwise again bullshit in is bullshit out. So you will get somewhere always with AI right, but I don't know if you're gonna get the stuff that you're looking for.
Yeah. I agree a bit. Not all. It depends,
That's good.
maybe.
Tell me
If
your point of view.
well, for example, I made a skill social media. I use it for my YouTube. I use it for some other things. And the only thing I do is, for example, let's take your example. You are in the 3 minutes width
Mhm.
this week. And what you did is you gave me your bio, and I uploaded the video, edited, etc. But that's another thing. But
Still need to do something manual, right?
yes, so I got a URL from YouTube. I added um, your bio, and I said, okay, this is it. This is episode 52, and here you go. And my skill picked it up and directly made the full context for YouTube, LinkedIn. So it depends.
Yeah, yeah, but again, you got to that skill because you understand how your process works.
Yes.
You know what you were going to. You have expectations. You gave it a goal. You gave it your context, and you gave it sources. So you gave it everything. But I
I
know,
agree.
the thing is, and that's because you and I are working in it like 24/7. I would say, like we're even
Yeah,
texting
yeah,
each other at night, like, "Hey, did you try this? Did you try that?" So
yeah.
we're 24/7 in it. So we like understand how it goes.
Yeah,
But if you look at like just everybody, not everybody is already on that level. And to be get to that
agree.
level, you need to have the foundations. And in my opinion, foundations are really prompting to know how to prompt. Because still, Cowork, I don't, yeah, I use it more than regular Copilot nowadays. But still, sometimes I use Copilot for like just one-to-one stuff, like super fast and whatever. But still, I'm from the opinion that you still need to have the foundations.
Yes, I agree. And what do you think? How comfortable are organizations with prompting and context and intention? You
Oh,
speak a lot of organizations, so
yeah, they're not there yet. I mean, you always have the people, and you see that on LinkedIn and everywhere. Like you always have the people that are in the forefront, right? They
yes,
know what they're doing. They can prompt. They can build agents. They can build workflows. They can do everything, MCP connections, whatever that we all know today. But that's a smaller part of the business of the enterprise of a company. Now if you look at the full company, you still have like what, 80%, 75,
yes,
depending on the industry and context, obviously. And those people, we cannot forget them as well, because we still need them.
absolutely,
And they
absolutely.
need to know how to interact with the data. They need to know how to like create stuff and save time on certain, yeah, tasks. And for that, yeah, you would still need to have those basics, and we can't forget them. Like,
So
is that something that you see as well in at your company
yes,
that you're working in?
yes, yes, and I see that a few companies I work for, they have a AI team that is doing a lot of things for them. If there are questions, they directly answer. They have promptathons, all those things that should be in place. But of course, you have to have a bigger organization.
Yeah, yeah,
If you have an organization of like 100 people, it's going to be hard to keep up with the pace of Microsoft, but also about Copilot.
yeah.
So that's something that I see, and this is also something. Do we lose some context as experts to the business because we are upfront so far?
I don't know. I talk to different type. I talk to also smaller companies and like some friends that are running some businesses and stuff. So I give already some workshops for like an 8-person insurance local company in Belgium. A good friend of mine there, and yeah, I really went back to the basics, like just because in Belgium, we have 3 languages. They have a couple of outside of the country customers as well. So like just easily translating. Like he gave me then an example of the next day somebody that wasn't working with AI, or the week after that, came to him because now they also give some space to people in terms of we have our weekly team meeting or bi-weekly team meeting, prepare it with Copilot or whatever it was, the free version even. And she completed, or she uses now Copilot Chat, the free version, that normally was a 3-step process. She all does it in Copilot Chat now.
Yeah,
Like just translating an email, adding some extra context from a PDF file from a contract they have, and then translating it back again to French, whatever. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and that's a process like, and there we really need to slow down because we cannot talk to like co-work and everything that will just overwhelm
Yes.
them. right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
definitely on the pace that we are that we are going at today, not us, but the companies like Microsoft, like it goes too fast for the majority of the world, in my opinion.
Yes, 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 and especially terms like agents, plugins, connectors,
Yeah.
models.
Yeah, yeah, it goes. Well, sometimes it's even for me like, damn, they again have new stuff. I need to read up again. you know?
And rename again.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what was it now? Now it's again edit. Yeah, edit in Word now because it was
Yes,
agent mode, and then yeah,
yes, agree. And the button is no more in the ribbon. It's now somewhere
indeed,
flowing.
that switched now with me as well. Yeah, yeah,
so, so yes, and sometimes I think the adoption goes faster than the governance goes.
yeah,
So
for
that's
sure.
also something that IT has, um, yeah, has a struggle with, so to say. Or
And do you see it as a struggle because of the multiple models that are out there, or only focused to Copilot then?
well, focus to Copilot, for example.
Yeah.
Because people only think, okay, where can Copilot help me?
Hmm.
So they just start prompting, but they don't know about policies, security, and structure which behind there. And if it's well done, then it is already in place and maybe even too tight. But most companies will be behind and have it open, all in the open, and it returns at that point. So that's also something that's questionable for some organizations because some stuff will light up. Or do you think it's good to go and we just go ahead?
Oh, I think it's so context specific in terms of companies and industry that you're in, because today, like I talked already with like big company, mostly present in Europe, and they just went co-work all in for everybody
Yes, yeah,
because they were like, yeah, people are asking for cloud, and they were gonna develop or they were gonna enroll cloud as well in the company, but then they saw what Copilot could bring now with Cowork, which is basically the
yes.
same, and it's then easier for governance type, right? For governance for IT to only manage one tool.
Mhm.
Well, in the end, they're gonna give finance cloud as well because of their specific use cases. I think cloud is better for that department, which is fine. Um, but I think from a governance perspective, from that end, yeah, a lot of companies are gonna struggle
Yes, yes,
and are struggling.
yes. I think there's a whole market on that, and there's just not enough people
Yeah.
to
What do
make it
what
work.
what do you think that when will Anthropic have European data centers?
That's a good one. I hope the end of this May month.
That would be
But
good.
I saw they are GDPR compliant now, but I don't know the data centers. I think you said that they are still outside of Europe, but not sure about that.
Yeah, well,
So
that's what I heard. Let me Google it quickly. Oh, Google it.
Google.
Wow, that's weird to say. No, I'll just ask.
Are people still using Google?
Well, that's a good question because I like I have it now in my Edge browser. It's always binging, and I do not like Bing.
No, I always that's the first thing I change in my
Yeah,
browser
I need to
profile.
change it. But that's the thing. I'm not using it anymore, and now and then I still like, I don't know, muscle memory or something. I still go to
Yeah,
like just in the browser type it in, and then I'm like, yeah, whatever. No, I don't want Bing.
yeah. Well, I think sometimes Google is good because it has the Gemini engine underneath it.
Yeah.
So one of the things I saw like 2 days ago, there was one ad or a picture somewhere. I don't know where, but it showed Copilot and it showed more models than Anthropic and Chat GPT. So I'm going to be interested if this is just someone who made a screenshot and it had more models in there, or that they
Yeah,
are
but
really
I
working
saw
on
that as
that.
well. Wasn't that in just a print screen from PowerPoint?
It could be. It could be.
Because in PowerPoint you have it as well. If you like select auto, you have like GPT-2, MIA, image 2 efficient, Flux 2, Flex. So that's in the PowerPoint mode to create images.
Yeah, but I'm more talking about like Anthropic, so Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, etc. That's more what I saw. So,
In the print
but
screen.
yeah, but I think it's edited because I haven't heard
I haven't
anything
heard,
about
no, no.
that.
That would be next level.
Yes, that
What I'm
would
curious
be.
about is the Red Lobster project. When that
Yes.
will go live and when we will have that in our environment to play with, because that would be,
Yeah, so you mean the project of Omar?
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
like open
yes.
claw within Microsoft. Huh?
You see more and more around that as well. So it's going to be interesting. Maybe we should put the link to Omar's blog
Yeah, I think that's a good one to
uh,
follow.
in the comments, so people can look it up. I also heard another podcast, and they mentioned it was the Cloud IT Pro podcast. And what they mentioned is something about DLP policies and Copilot Cowork. That they say in normal Copilot, DLP works like you would expect. If a document is blocked, Copilot simply cannot access it. It clearly tells you the content is restricted. But in Cowork, they tried the same thing and the same document, same policy, and Cowork was actually able to read the content, so effectively bypass the DLP policy.
Ula.
And then here we go again back to what we just talked about. The people in IT and governance, do they know what they are doing, and do they have full control still?
That's not good.
No, it isn't.
I
So
Yeah, I don't know.
they advise, and I think they are right on that, to use MIP and RMS. Well, MIP stands for Microsoft Information Protection. The framework Microsoft uses to for things like sensitivity labels. So you can say a document is confidential or internal. And RMS stands for Rights Management Services. That is part actually enforces protection by encrypting the file and controlling who can open it and what they can do with it. So
And then on
I
top of
think,
that, still DLP policies.
well, yes, but most of the people only have the DLP policies.
Yeah, not the sensitivity labels. Huh?
Exactly.
And if they have it in place, they don't use it properly.
Agree.
Yeah, but
So
when I was like in the previous big company that I worked there, we had yeah, obviously as well sensitivity labels, and they worked pretty good. Like,
yeah,
and they really paid attention to it, gave good training around it. Everybody was like mostly aware of it. Like, alright, you forgot to change the sensitivity label. Can you do it? Like, okay, that's a good one. Then you really need to have 3 layers of protection for your data.
exactly. Yeah.
Well,
I
in
agree.
terms of accessibility. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. So that's, I think it's really interesting to see. And this is also something that I hear a lot, that there's not one answer that is correct from coming from Microsoft. So it's one person says that, another person says that. It's very hard to get the real answer.
Well, that
And
has always been the case, right?
yeah, but lately I see that more and more struggles with that.
Huh. But then it's more on the security level side, right?
Yes, well, more on security and AU boundaries.
Yeah.
So another client of mine, they use multi-geo, and 17th of April flex routing was enabled.
Oh yeah,
And but in the multi-geo tenant, you do not have the option to turn it on, turn it off, or whatever.
yeah.
So I went into the rabbit hole to check, okay, what's the deal with it? And there were a few answers. So eventually I spoke to someone who's really knowing what he's talking about, and it doesn't have this setting in the multi-geo, but you already give some commitment on that in another way. So it's
Ooh. Also
it,
interesting for bigger companies that they
yes,
should be aware of that.
yes. So that's an interesting one, and that's because you see all kinds of people trying to answer the same question, but sometimes there's no information about it. So
Yeah, or misinformation.
yeah, yeah, indeed, indeed. So
because
yes.
because that's something like you remember there was a couple of weeks ago that LinkedIn was full of it, that in Microsoft in some type of terms of agreement or whatever there was like that Copilot is only used for entertainment purposes.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I missed that one.
but it's only in the personal one.
Uh-huh.
That everybody was like shouting on the internet of like, oh, you pay $30 per month, but it's for something for entertainment purposes only. And that's the thing, like that information get misinterpreted and then like just shared, and everybody is not double
Yes.
checking stuff. So for the people listening, that's only personal. So as soon as you have a
Yes.
business license, it means business.
Exactly. Well, and that's something I see as well, which is happening quickly. Also, due to AI, is that people create posts, and uh, the post is generated by AI, but they don't check if it's really
No.
correct. And other people go into it and say, "Oh, wow, is this the case?
Yeah, and they
Let's
just
take it
reuse it.
on."
No.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting. One other thing I wanted to talk about is brand kits. Did you
Ah,
already
yeah,
work with
we
that?
had some conversations around it this week.
Yes.
That's good. Have you already played with it? Have you already tried it?
I played with it, and I played it in two tenants. So
Yeah.
one is my own tenant where I have full control. I have the Anthropic subprocessor on, etc. And the other one is a client tenant. And the results were different, so to say. So
Yeah.
that's something that the client tenant doesn't have the sub processing on yet. Now it could be a misconfiguration yet, but for example, they had problems with the fonts that were not as defined in the brand kit. So it's an interesting one. I'm really curious at other people what their experience is, and then I must say not the experience of like 1 month ago or 2 months ago, but now, because 2 months ago it was like really really bad.
Yeah, really. It took maybe the colors that you provided because that's like hex colors, whatever.
Yes,
But it
exactly.
was not that great.
So maybe I can show you one thing because I prepared a little demo for it because I
That's
want
good.
to show you how it
That's good for the
works.
people on YouTube.
Yes. Let me do this. Share. Um, I don't have to ask if you see my screen because it's working automatically, I believe.
I see it.
Uh, so we are in PowerPoint, and here you see the nice new floating icon, which is
There
like,
it is.
if you are used to have it here, you don't look here. But okay, what you do is make sure it's an allow editing modus, and then you say, okay, you prompt, and let's do this. Let's have a surfing topic, and my audience is well
Sea
let's
level.
do.
C-level
Sea
from a
level.
big international company. Let's see how we
All
can
right.
integrate that.
And here I say, okay, use our company brand kit and keep the design consistent with our templates. Make the slides visually, minimal text, focus on key insights. Each slide should have like, okay, this is just like a normal prompt, so
Yeah.
to say. It's still a small one. So we send it off. And
But where did you define your brand kit?
that's another question. I will show you.
Maybe we'll need to show that later because now you just go to the end, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, maybe while it's gathering information, I can
Yeah, because it will take a while. Huh?
go for. Let's see if I can show you directly. And let's see.
There's already some questions popping up on the PowerPoint as well. So
Ah, that's good. So normally, and all right, I'm already on the good side. So normally you have this 9 points, and here you have the create button. And if I go here, I can click on more,
you
and
have already
then
an updated version, by the way.
oh really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Then you click on brand kits, and here you can define your brand kits as it's, and then you've got like a few options. So you got the official one created by you, shared by you, and you can have multiple official ones. So for example, if you have a company that has different brands, you can have different brand kits. If we go into one, let's just jump into there. Then you can set up the logos, the colors, and you can do this from a PDF. I already made a video about this, how to set it up. So that's quite interesting. You can also define your templates that you have, which you used to have in your organizational libraries. So I'm really curious what's going to be there and how it's going to change. So the brand center, so they called it as well. Some icons, you can add images. I didn't do that, and I didn't do the fonts, but basically here you set it up, and you have to set it up in your config office to have your brand managers only to be able to do organizational. But of course, as a user, you can have a brand kit yourself as well. So that's quite interesting, to be honest. So let's go back to our PowerPoint because you said it's already popping some questions.
Yep.
Let's do that.
So, but if you set up your brand template and create in Copilot, when
Yes.
you reference it in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, wherever you are, it will use that one.
Yes,
And what
but
happens if you have multiple ones, like the corporate one and the
we
personal
we
one?
are we are going to show.
Okay,
I'm
okay, okay.
going to try and show you. So we are going to do
I'm moving
five
too
to
fast. Sorry
six.
for that.
Yeah, no worries. We are going to do. Let's do sustainability. It's a hot topic. We confirm. And in the meanwhile, it's gathering information again and generating the template. So let's see what happens. But you basically gonna have multiple brand kits and then select the brand kit you want to use.
Okay.
So I have to check which one is there.
And why would you want to have multiple brand kits?
Well, look, here we are already. So we can have their own thing, but you can also select your organization. So I have to be a bit careful about this. So I will blur this in the end result.
Yeah, that's a
But
good idea.
as you can see, we have multiple brand kits here. I select the basis, and then I click on confirm. and now it's just using that brand kit into my presentations. And coming back to your questions, for example, let's say like what's a good one. Um, I don't know if you know the company Vrumona. It's a Dutch company.
Hmm.
They have like different brands. So they have like I think Pepsi,
Ah,
Hero,
like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
etc.
Yeah,
And each subdivision has different logos. So and different branding style. So
yeah, makes sense.
that's why you want to have a different brand kit.
Makes sense.
Yes.
I'm curious now because I'm already
Yes, me
doing it
too.
in the back end. I'm also I had already the basic, like when you could change choose your colors, like in the early days of
Yeah.
the brand guys, you could like you do the colors and everything. But now I can do a lot more.
Yes,
I
and
will do that.
what I like about it, it's more respecting the brand kit.
Ah, that's good.
That was a problem like 1 month, 2 months ago. So, but
But,
still,
but what I really
it
want to
takes a
try
while.
out, because
Hmm?
now that it's we can talk about it since PowerPoint is still building.
Yes,
Um, because I saw like from Daniel Anderson, he was also, or he's a big fan of the design.md file
yes,
to really
yes,
describe everything in a skill. Well, in a markdown file, which you then can
yes,
implement or whatever in a skill. Because now, obviously, because we are very focused on Microsoft and you build
yes.
your brand template in Create, right? So you can't use that if you are then using also Claude.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Are we
yeah. It's
able, that's maybe a good one to test out, and I don't know if it will work. Are we able to create, if we already have now our company template in Create built, can we now ask Cowork to build a template or a skill out of it?
ooh, that's a good one.
Because
That's one.
or you probably will need to work with like print screens that you can do it and do it double. But I'm curious if the output will be the same then. If you're working now really with templates or with a skill.
It's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. We should try it out and
We
come
should
back to
try it
it in
out.
the next podcast, I think. Because I wanted to talk some more while it's still building. I want to talk some more about notebooks. Because there, someone showed me something and I didn't really know it because I didn't play a lot with the notebooks. But someone showed me the notebook and that you just make an audio recap
Yeah.
and that's like a podcast,
Yep.
and there are really things that I think is really strong. uh, they give
Yeah.
your productivity a boost because you don't have to read everything, you just listen to it.
Yeah, and what else has been updated there in Notebook is now you can create mind maps
Yes,
as well.
yes,
Because
yeah,
I have a notebook, like I didn't use it from the beginning because the tool was constantly like update and going new version back to old version, new version old. So it was always like confused. But now it's like pretty stable even in the application. And what I'm doing now is I have like from a business perspective for my business, I have like my business plan for 2026. I have like my revenue that I do and costs and everything. So I've built everything, or I threw everything in one notebook. And then I
yes,
have a mind map that I do on it. So I can see like correlations between certain things, areas, and then it's super interesting. Then I start interacting with, okay, I want to start doing now my newsletters or whatever that I want to do, or I want to go from 5 times posting a week to 7 times, like stuff like that. Like
yeah,
how
yeah,
this
yeah,
will impact, because I made some calculations as well from amount of viewers, like the funnel, right? We all know that.
yeah.
And you really can use the notebook in that type of way of just being your strategic partner, where you can just
Yes.
shout some ideas at, no, not shouting, like throwing some ideas at, um, And for that, it's really powerful because now you can also, and that's also with the update of last month, I think, or was it a couple of weeks ago? I don't remember. Um, you can also build now documents and PowerPoints from a
Yes.
notebook.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
becoming super powerful to really have your own little project going. Um, and you can even like that was not before that, but now you can share those notebooks as well.
Yes. Yes. Indeed. So where do you think you should use notebooks? Where do you place it, so to say?
I would say if you have a project or whatever you want to call it, if you have multiple files and you don't need external input, and you always need that group of files or new ones when you build along, and which you can add then.
Yes. And what?
Project work,
Yeah.
like for lawyers, it can also be good if you have like different topics of the law. What? Yeah, I'm not very good in the law, but I know there you
Yes.
can have some project, like if you are preparing for a case and stuff like that, and then you get new materials, so you can add those materials and see what impact it has on your things that you were going to say in court, for example. Like that's one very specific one. um,
Yes. Yes.
like if you have a supplier, or if you're a big company, you have multiple suppliers, and you want to do analysis on that, or you want to get, yeah, always an overview of every supplier there. I don't know, there are like so many possibilities. But then on the
Yes.
other hand, you need to make sure that you're not over notebooking it, because sometimes it can also be good, definitely if it's shared, to just create a SharePoint site with
Yes. Agree.
or a SharePoint library,
And
where you can use that.
but what is also very powerful, I don't use it a lot anymore, but OneNote notebooks in Notebook. You can even add them.
That's yeah. I didn't know
Yes.
that. Also, because I actually don't use OneNote.
I used to use it really a lot,
Yeah, you can.
but
Yeah,
since Loop, I changed a bit. So, yeah. It's still building. It takes a long time, though.
it takes a long time.
Focus on slide 5, fixing slide layouts. Maybe I made it too difficult for it.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. What I see as well, and maybe we can elaborate a little bit further on it,
Yes.
because now, since the models are so powerful and they can really do, first of all, a much better job, and second of all, they can do a lot more.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes it takes indeed a lot of time to do a task, and if you have that, Paul, like what do you do if you know like this will take, because like creating slides, creating documents, it takes a while. Like what do you do?
I just go and continue with my other work.
Yeah,
So yeah, that that is mainly what I do. So sometimes I have like three different tasks running at the same time,
yeah.
and I just start with a fourth task, and then I just loop around and check which one is ready. From a focusing point, which Cas de Moray always says it's bad, but from a productivity point of view, if you can do four tasks in the same time, it's really a
But in the
lot.
end, can you?
No,
Because you
I
just
don't
get
think
from
so.
a focus type of point, like I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think it's more, when you put it on, and for example we are like 10 minutes in, and we still don't have a result. What would you do in those 10 minutes if you cannot do anything on this slide deck now?
Yeah, well, I have that, and then I switch, and then I'm working on something else, and then I forgot that I'm doing this as well, and then I'm like an hour later I'm coming, and he just asked like one question, then he needs to do it again, like again 10 minutes. So you're constantly switching, and for me that's like, first of all, super exhausting. Like since I work
Yes.
more with AI, like in the evening I'm like completely drowned, just from a mental perspective as well.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, so I personally I need to like be very aware of it, to take more breaks, to give
Yeah.
my head a bit of rest. But that's super annoying. Well, no, it's actually really cool, but it's annoying from that point of view that it's also now available on your phone.
Yeah.
So now when I'm walking the dogs, I really cannot bring my phone, because otherwise I'm like, because when I walk or run, then my brain, like, I'm resetting, and
Yeah,
then I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
oh, maybe I can do this or maybe I can do that. So it's always a smart idea to don't have my phone with me, because otherwise I will just get like launch another task, you know?
But then if you are walking with the dog and you still bring your phone, you get those ideas. You just put them in your loop component and just say, "I want to think about this. I want to think about
Yeah,
that."
that's also true.
And
That's also true.
especially with Whisper, your your number one tool,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
It's great to have. So then you are still productivity.
Yeah. But do I want to? That's the question.
That's another one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another question.
I think if we would look at the work, the amount of work we do like now compared to 5 years or even 1 year,
Yeah.
I think it's the pace has gone up
Yeah.
so much. So yeah.
Tremendously. Yeah, of course. But then, yeah, because then I'm also thinking, okay, is the output then that I'm giving now?
Ta-da!
We are there. Nice.
Oh, I made the wrong one, but it doesn't matter. I got such a nice thing in front of me, which has all these features in there. But as you can see, it made it really nice in my brand kit, and it has the uh,
Okay, but what did you like those images? Are those in your
yes.
brand kit or not? I only saw the icon on the right top, but like the surfers and everything, are those in or not?
No, this one is all coming from my template. So it's not in my brand kit, but it's in my template.
So where did it get the template from then? From
I
the brand
I
kit.
defined it. Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
I
Cool.
uploaded the template in the brand kit.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. And yeah, for the rest, it took my colors. It took my, I think, yeah, Montserrat is my font, so it did that as well. Um, yeah, I must say,
Can you maybe show the template, your PowerPoint template, that we can see like
let's see if I
compare?
can open that one. And if it's still shared, let's see. Yeah, I see here. Now it's still not showing, so I have to go to the template. One moment. And here we go. This is the template.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's Potix, and it's really Dutch. So, but as you can see, this is all slides are in there.
Yeah.
So it really took this one and yeah, made it to the end, so to say.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah. And as you can see, it's already an old one. 2021.
It's
That's a
already a
long
long
time
time ago
ago.
in AI world. It's already like from the birth,
Yes,
well, of the
exactly.
AI that we know today, of course.
Yes. So, all right. I think we are already 45 minutes in again. So I think we have to make a roundup.
Yes.
And let's switch back to just us. How do I
Yeah, I
do
think it
that?
was an interesting one. We went a bit more technical, less practical, but not as well, technical on business level, I would say, because I
Yes.
can still talk with, so which is great. Because if we go too deep, I you will lose me.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what we don't want. We want to have it
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
simple that humans still still understand.
Yeah. Right. No,
So
it was it was cool. Maybe for the next time we can like invite somebody over, or we can think about that
Yes,
right in offline.
we
Um,
got enough people who are
yeah,
willing
lined up.
to line
Um,
up. Yes,
all right. I would say thank you very much again, Paul, also for the preparation. And now we got the full software as well.
yes.
Um, to the
So,
people, like, subscribe, and what is it?
like,
Share
subscribe, and comment and
and comment
share.
and comment. Yeah, yeah. No, let us know like stuff that was maybe unclear or where we need to
Yes,
elaborate a little bit further on. I think we can do that in the next session for sure.
yes.
Um, well,
And
we will see. Yeah.
the main question I still have is, what's your next surf session? When is it?
Oh, that's a good one. I wanted to go this week, but the waves are not that good here. So I
Mhm.
guess now it's a long weekend, right? So I guess somewhere this weekend I will go in. Oh yeah,
Uh,
because now it's also very low tide because the full moon is almost there.
yes,
So it,
yes.
it will be maybe fun to go with the kids as well to go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You?
had a surf session last week, but it was like fully messy. So I went in. Oh, I even get a call now. Oh, I don't know why how it can go in there. So let's just block that for a moment. But no, what I was doing, it was really too big, and all how do you call that again? Shore breaks.
Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
good. So I
No.
really hope to have some sessions upcoming days.
Fingers crossed.
We'll
Fingers
see.
crossed.
All right. See you
Good.
all next time.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.